For our project, we decided to look at Freire's two methods about education, which is the banking method and problem posing. And through interviews and personal experience, we tried to figure out which is the best way for a student to learn.
In the banking method, the teacher reads off a bunch of facts that the student is supposed to learn. There is no teacher-student interaction, and the students are forced to study for tests, which they later forget most, if not all, of the information for.
The problem-posing method teaches students how to think critically about subjects. This method involves a lot of teacher and student interaction and allows both the students and the teacher to hear new ideas from different perspectives, sometimes changing their opinion about the subject.
Hello class, today we'll be learning about pilgrims. A small group of people, the Pilgrims, arrived in the New World from England on a rented ship named the Mayflower. They landed at Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts on a cold day in December 1620. Back in England, everyone had to belong to the Church of England. The Pilgrims did not want to belong to the Church of England. They were seeking religious freedom. There were only 102 people, men, women, and children, aboard the Mayflower when they arrived in New York.
Today, we're going to learn some basic math. Yes.
What are the dots for?
Well, the dots are an easy way to do your addition. So, you see you have two right here. We have two dots. So if you count each one, you can get your number. So counting all the dots, you can get your answer.
That's awesome.
I know, right? Do you want to come try it out?
Sure. So there's 1, 2,
Right?
3, 4. So that means 2 plus 2 equals 4.
That's
So in the two videos you just watched, there was a banking method and then there was the problem solving. The problem solving method, you saw the student and the teacher interacting quite frequently, and actually throughout the entire video, the student was asking questions and even writing up on the board to the point where both parties were interacting with each other, so they were both involved in the learning process. In the banking one, you noticed that it was kind of a history lesson, and they were learning about the Pilgrims. What ended up happening was that the teacher was just spewing all this information at the students, who frankly looked like they didn't give a care in the world, because for the most part they shouldn't.
Our thesis is that the problem-posing method is the most effective way of teaching students, but in order to provide students the best opportunity to learn, they must be given background information, which requires a bit of the banking method.
As you can see here, there are some quotes from the people that we interviewed. They all have similar ideas that classes should involve some critical thinking and be able to discuss ideas in order for their student to reach their full potential. But as some expressed, they did not experience the problem-posing method, but they would have wanted to. These interviews really helped us understand that people probably didn't know the difference between the banking method and the problem-posing concept, but knowing the difference between the two, they would have much rather experienced the problem posing so they can have critical thinking skills and benefit themselves in the future.
I actually found a quote from John Locke that was actually pretty fitting to the point, and it says, "Curiosity in children is but an appetite after knowledge, and therefore ought to be encouraged in them, not only as a good sign, but in the great instrument nature has provided, to remove that ignorance they were born with, and which without this busy inquisitiveness will make them dull and useless creatures." So John Locke kind of gives us that quote, and for the most part I think it applies very wholly to the problem-solving method. If you just leave the kids to their own devices, they will end up learning something. They will, as long as they have a mentor and somebody to keep them on that sort of right track, they will end up learning something to their wildest dreams.
My experience in the public school system, kindergarten through 12th grade, consisted mainly of being taught with the banking method. While this method enabled me to learn the information by memorizing it and passing a test, I did not walk away with an enriching learning experience, and I did not retain much of the information that I was tested on, especially information that was not used or noted in subsequent classes. I think I would have preferred the problem-posing method because it would have allowed me to gain the knowledge while becoming interested in the topic being taught, and I would have likely retained the information and even shared dialogue with someone else at some point, which would allow that person to learn about the topic as well.